Between May 327 BC and March 326 BC, Alexander the Great led a campaign known as the Cophen in the Kabul Valley. The Aspasioi, Guraean, and Assakenoi tribes were targeted in the Panjkora and Swat valleys in what is now Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, Pakistan, as well as the Kunar Valley in Afghanistan. In order to wage a campaign in actual India, Alexander's objective was to secure his line of communication. He had to take a number of the fortifications that the indigenous tribes controlled in order to do this. Alexander's goal had been to conquer the whole Persian Empire, which stretched all the way to Gandhara. Darius the Great, the former monarch of the Persian Achaemenid Empire, had ordered one of his generals, Skylax, to sail down the Indus. Following this voyage, Darius was able to conquer the neighboring Indian area and collect 350 Euboic talents in tribute every year. Little is known about Alexander's time in the Punjab. There were several princelings and republics, which the Indians referred to as kingless peoples. Everyone was competing for control of the territory. Omphis, the king of Taxila, had urged Alexander to come to his help in his conflict with the neighboring potentate Porus. Porus was regarded as the region's most powerful ruler. Sicycatus, another monarch, had participated in the Persian army at Gaugamela and subsequently became Alexander's vassal. These people provided Alexander with vital information about the region.
Our defenses will hold, and you will hold. Or by the gods, I will throw any who run from the walls myself. This is no place for cowards today, for we stand between the enemy and our people, and we must hold.
A series of uprisings that occurred in Arya, Sogdiana, and Bactria delayed Alexander's mission, which he had started organizing 2 years earlier, in 329 BC. He had been moving through the Hindu Kush over the winter and had been delayed in putting down these uprisings, so he made the decision to camp in the mountains. He established the city of Alexandria ad Caucasus during this time. This Afghan city was about 25 miles to the northwest of the present-day capital Kabul. At May 327 BC, when he arrived back in Alexandria ad Caucasus, he saw an abundance of food and supplies prepared for the army's invasion into India. Alexander left Alexandria ad Caucasus and marched to Nicaea, where he offered a sacrifice to Athena as was his custom at the start of every campaign. And then he started moving towards the Indus via the Cophen River, proclaiming that he was following in the footsteps of his ancestor Heracles. After defeating the Aspasians and Guraeans, Alexander marched down the Guraeus River, conquering the local tribes and elevating them to the level of paying tribute. He then moved on to the valley of the Swastos, where he encountered a force of 2,000 cavalry, 30,000 infantry, and 30 elephants. Craterus led the main army at a more deliberate pace as Alexander advanced quickly with the vanguard, doing all in his power to disrupt their plans. He carried the siege engines, which is expressly specified. From the hilly regions they had been in, the Macedonians must have felt a great sense of relief when entering the relatively flat fields of this Indus region. It was recorded that every opposing tribe withdrew to its own territory in response to Alexander's strategies. The greatest and capital of the Assassinian walled cities, Massaga, was the next place Alexander marched. 7,000 mercenaries from outside the Indus had been hired by the Assassinians. Due to the presence of these highly skilled mercenaries, the Assassinians and the mercenaries themselves were confident in their ability to defeat the Macedonians. Alexander gave the order to build up the camp outside of the city when he arrived at Massaga. However, The Assassinians were so sure of themselves because of the assistance of their mercenaries that they made the decision to launch an attack right away. Alexander saw a chance and gave the order for his soldiers to escape to a hill about a mile away from the town. The Assassinians, excited at the possibility of having caught the Macedonians so off guard, lost their composure and became disorderly in their pursuit of the Macedonians. Alexander, however, instructed his bowmen to fire on the Assassinians when they eventually got under the bows of the Macedonians. The mounted javelin men, Guraeans, and archers all sprinted forward to engage in combat at once. The phalanx, headed personally by Alexander, quickly followed them. Alexander was hurt during this action, and it is claimed that he said, "They may refer to me as the son of Zeus, but I nevertheless experience pain like a mortal. Not ichor, but blood."
When we have taken this place, and our enemies kneel in chains before us, when their women and children beg for the mercy of slavery, then we will have done a good day's work.
A following attack on Massaga was unsuccessful, proving that the professional mercenaries were deserving of the money they were paid. The following day, Alexander gave the orders to bring up the siege machinery and to pound down a portion of the wall. The mercenaries were able to stop this action from being successful, though.
Soon be over. Once they're dead, find a nice quiet whorehouse and enjoy yourselves.
On your command!
Order the Val commanders to make ready their men.
You heard him! Get ready! Get lost, take the nearest tavern and hold it against all comers!
What they are about to receive, gods make them truly fearful!
Alexander then gave the order to construct a tower and terrace, which took 9 days to complete. Alexander then gave the order to move the tower closer to the wall. As the tower advanced, archers and slingers, most likely from Cyprus, were sent there to keep the defenders at a distance. It is possible that the Indian mercenaries had never encountered such a complex siege plan and apparatus despite their military skill. The globe had not yet encountered siegecraft as advanced as that which the Macedonians had created. They had undoubtedly watched the Macedonians construct the tower and terrace, so it must have been an odd sight to see them really advancing this very absurd structure along the terrace they had constructed. They had undoubtedly never seen anything like it. Nevertheless, the mercenaries battled valiantly and did not allow the Macedonians to pass. following day, Alexander gave the order to build a bridge from the tower and send the same troops that attacked Tyre to attack the Assassinian from bridges erected on the mole. The slingers and archers would shoot as before in the interim. The mercenaries, however, once more put up a valiant fight. Alexander gave the command for a group of hypaspists to dash across the bridge towards the mercenaries while this was happening. But as too many of them surged in at once, the hastily constructed bridge gave way beneath their weight. The Assassinians took the chance after spotting it. They began by throwing volleys of arrows, stones, and even fireballs upon the warriors in the ditch. Many of the hypaspists were killed in the hole they had fallen into, which served as their grave. The Macedonians launched a similar attack the following day after constructing a new bridge. The mercenaries' commander and the Assassinian monarch were both killed by the Macedonians throughout the course of the assault. The Assassinians thus made the decision to negotiate their capitulation. The Assassinians were had to accept to serve under Alexander in exchange for their surrender, and they were also required to turn over the hostages of the Massagan king's family to Alexander. The mercenaries, however, were averse to doing so since doing so would require them to engage in combat with other tribes and clans. After they had submitted to Alexander, they took the decision to leave the camp they had set up close to the city with their family. When Alexander learned of this, he ordered his soldiers to encircle the hill where the mercenaries were encamped. Alexander ordered the Macedonians to assault. But the mercenaries heroically fought back by forming a circle with their families in the middle and yelling desperately to Alexander that he was breaching the peace treaty. Nonetheless, the assault continues. According to Theodorus, some of the women took the weapons of their slain husband and fought back with great effectiveness. Once again, the valiant mercenaries proved their value. Despite all odds, they stood steadfast. No quarter was given, none taken. They battled like heroes and died like warriors. Each and every mercenary, along with their families, had either been killed or captured as slaves. According to Arrian's narrative, Alexander's conduct was sparked by mercenaries who were trying to disperse at night. But he is the only one making this assertion. Even yet, the fact that Alexander willfully violated a peace deal would remain unchanged. Both Diodorus and Plutarch consider this act of treason to be a severe stain on Alexander's career.
To receive. Gods make them truly fearful.
After this, the Macedonians proceeded back to Massaga and took it with ease, and killed all the soldiers in the garrison of the city. The family of the former king along with the queen and princess were taken prisoner. Seige, the brother of the slain king, was placed on the throne of the conquered kingdom. He received the status of loyal ally, thus ending the siege of Massaga.